Good evening and welcome to this evening's Back to School Night presentation. My name is Benjamin Kapler. I think many of you are familiar with me as this is the fourth year that I've worked with your students. I'll be talking a little bit this evening about just the Architecture 4 course and what I expect to accomplish with your kids this year. It's certainly a different environment, and this is the strangest way that I've ever delivered a back to school night presentation. I think many of you have had the opportunity to engage on a similar style evening in years past, and it was really nice to see people's face and shake their hand and get a chance to engage with you. In this capacity, we don't necessarily get to do that, so it really is important just to make sure that I afford you the opportunity to reach out to me if you have any questions whatsoever or concerns about your child, or you want to discuss anything regarding plans after high school and stuff like that. I mean, we've spent a considerable amount of time together in class, and I definitely have some insight into their abilities as students and things like that may lend well towards a good conversation about where they're going to go from here. Rather than give you the same presentation that you've received a couple years in the past, I'm going to skip over quite a bit of this and really maybe just focus on the stuff that pertains mostly just to them. So at this point, hopefully we're starting to think about what's going to happen next year. I would love to be involved and engaged in that conversation with your children and yourselves if you would like to do so. I'm certainly willing to write letters of recommendation for each of them. Wonderful kids, and they've done some great work over the past couple of years. So they certainly deserve like that conversation and those kudos and the recommendation from me for hopefully getting into some place where they want to maybe move to next. This year we're going to spend a decent amount of time working on and developing their portfolios so that they can present those if they were to put into a college or a university for architecture. So we're going to spend some time working on that. Maybe even if it's something that they don't intend to do so exactly next year or the year to follow, but maybe the year afterward. So maybe they start off at community college and then move on to do something with this later. I like to have that portfolio, so it's always something they can go back to. So we're going to spend some time on that portfolio development. That'll incorporate any of the projects that they've worked on previously. Might even involve some projects that they work on this year, as well as maybe even some art projects and some work that they've completed just on their own. I also like to spend their senior year kind of taking things out of the hypothetical realm and trying to do more hands-on real-life types of things. So there's a number of opportunities there, like within our school, maybe around your house, maybe even in our local community that we can get involved in. So that's very, very typical of the fourth level class to try to take things out of the hypothetical realm and bring it as close to real life as possible. And then in this fourth year course, there's really only 3 kids that are in the Architecture 4 class, and they sit in at the same time as like the Architecture 3 class. So I do like for them to be very much independent and self-guided. So I'm always looking for them to have something that they're intellectually curious about, for them to want to explore kind of independently and focus their own learning on what they're interested in and engaged in. So there's certainly options for those that are curious and have their own interests. Some of the software and stuff that we're going to be using, we've been using Revit for the past 3 years. Now we're on Revit 2021. Kind of the biggest challenge with software deals with the fact that several of the students are fully remote. Everybody else is remote half the time, or 3/5 of the time they're remote. So the question I've been asking since we went remote last year was how to deliver software to kids who don't have access to it at home. And the biggest thing is, the software is for free for kids at home, but only if they're on a Windows-based computer. So some of the software that the company that we get our software from, Autodesk, offers Macintosh OS operating system or Windows operating system. Revit really only runs on Windows. So kind of the challenge in getting kicked out of the school halfway through the year last year, or 5/8 of the way through the school year last year, was how do we get kids software to use so they can keep working on the same types of projects, and that was a huge challenge. And one of the things that I focused on ever since leaving was trying to get something in place so that we can, get kids back to doing the stuff that they really like. So one of the big things that I have set up for this year is the ability to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to have, obviously, the downloadable edition for Windows, which we've always had. And then for anybody who has just the Chromebook, which runs on an Android operating system, or maybe a Mac, which runs on any number of Macintosh-based operating systems, we have a totally different solution where they're going to be employing Amazon Web Services, running a virtual machine to have an installation of Revit that they can basically just stream from. So just as easy as it is to log in and watch Netflix, it's going to be just as easy for your kids to, from their Chromebook or from their Macintosh, log in and stream Revit, where they can actually manipulate the software from home, and it is free. So we have that in place beginning this week. So kids will get the instructions for that, and they'll be ready to go from there. I think that's about it for the presentation this evening. I'm at about 6.5 minutes right now. I was supposed to limit it to roughly 5. Regardless, I just wanted to make sure I took the time to go through, those couple things with you folks, so that you knew kind of what we were going to be covering, how the software stuff was going to work, and just kind of make sure that you know that I'm here for you if you have any questions, if you need to reach out, or you want to just talk about your children in any capacity, and I'll let you know that I'm available. So I am here. Please reach out. I do appreciate your time this evening. Thank you very much for attending our virtual back to school night, and I hope you have a good evening. All right. Thank you very much. Good night.